What's up, family? Trail here, and today we want to talk about the latest information regarding some new inflation relief checks for Americans. We now have new information regarding some $1,000 checks for Americans. Yes, additionally, we have confirmation from President Biden of when we can expect some new stimulus relief aid from the federal government. And now we have some actual dates to go by. So we definitely want to look forward to that. And last but not least, I have a few important news stories that I want to provide an update to you guys because I know you have been asking me down below in the comment section. But before we get started, hey, you already know what to do. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel as well as hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Now let's go ahead and start with the video. Starting off, we have some new information in regards to the attack against Paul Pelosi, which is the husband of the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. And yes, guys, the suspect ended up going into court a couple of days ago in which he told the judge that he was initially intending to break the kneecaps of Nancy Pelosi. Yes, guys, David Wayne DePep, which is his name, is the man that was accused of breaking into House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's home and violently attacking her husband. He intended to kidnap her and possibly break her kneecaps, according to the court documents. Now, he also told San Francisco police after his arrest that if Nancy Pelosi were to tell him the truth, he would let her go. And if she lied, he was going to break her kneecaps so that she would have to be wheeled into Congress. Now, Nancy Pelosi said in a statement on Monday night that Paul is making steady progress on what will be a long recovery process. We do know that this particular individual ended up beating him in the head with a hammer until he was knocked out unconscious. And yes, guys, he was laying in a pool of blood at his home as the policeman arrived. So yes, guys, he ended up having to have surgery to repair his skull fracture as well as some other serious injuries to his right arm and his hands. And yes, guys, since that particular attack, we have been hearing stories in regards to the Republicans have been saying that Paul Pelosi actually knew this particular individual, that they are claiming that broke into his home. And yes, they are claiming that he met him at a bar, which was a gay bar, I guess. But anyways, guys, that he came home with him. So yes, guys, there are some crazy stories that are going out there right now. I don't know if they're necessarily true or not, but they are falling in line with some potential conspiracies in which President Biden found out about this. And yes, he actually went forth and actually he is ripping the GOP and the Republicans over these particular jokes that are being made in regards to Paul Pelosi. Now, obviously, he would do this not from a presidential perspective, but because this is one of his particular colleagues, Nancy Pelosi being the House Speaker, which is one of the top jobs in Congress right now. And yes, guys, it says that President Biden on Tuesday ripped the Republicans who responded to the attack on Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband by making jokes about it and criticizing those who didn't offer a full condemnation of the incident, and said in a statement that, look, at a response of Republicans making jokes about it, President Biden said at a reception in Florida that the guy purchased a hammer to kneecap the number 2 in the line of succession, according to President Biden, in which referring to the suspect in the attack who prosecutors say told investigators he wanted to break the speaker's kneecaps. So yes, guys, the president is standing up for his colleague and putting an end to all of these particular jokes or conspiracy theories that have been said in regards to Paul Pelosi's attack. But anyways, guys, moving on, we do have an update in regards to the former president, Donald Trump. We talked about it a couple of days ago on the video in which we talked about how Donald Trump has been asking the Supreme Court to block the efforts that are being pushed by the House Democrats in regards to getting a hold of his tax returns. Well, guys, he actually did it. Yes, one of the prime members in the Supreme Court, which is Roberts, he actually temporarily blocked the House from obtaining Trump's tax returns. So yes, guys, Chief Justice John Roberts on Tuesday temporarily blocked the House committee from obtaining several years of the former President Donald Trump's tax returns. And the Chief Justice ordered the state to freeze the House Ways and Means Committee request for the documents, which Trump has fought for many, many years. The former president on Monday filed an emergency application asking the Supreme Court to intervene in the case after a federal appeals court last week denied Trump's request to block the release of his tax returns. Well, anyways, the Supreme Court, Robert, he said that, look, I'll go ahead and do it for you. I'll go ahead and put out a temporary restraining order against these particular records being released to the public. So yes, guys, like I said, he did grant his wish, but he only has until November the 10th to respond to Trump's application to delay the committee from obtaining this information. So we'll just have to see how all of this plays out. Moving on, we also have information in regards to what's coming down the pipeline. We know that Donald Trump is in a lot of issues right now, facing some legal battles on multiple different situations in which right now they're saying that, look, the GOP, the Republicans, they are bracing for what they are considering to be a Trump indictment very soon. And they are expecting this to come shortly after the midterm election, which is Election Day. Yes, Republican aides and strategists are privately expecting the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, to pursue an indictment of the former President Donald Trump within 60 to 90 days after the Election Day, predicting the window for prosecuting Trump will close once the 2024 presidential campaign gains a little bit momentum. Republicans' aide on Capitol Hill and veteran party strategists emphasize that they don't have any inside information on what Garland might do, but they say that the Attorney General is under heavy pressure from the Democrats to act, and the deadline for pursuing an indictment is fast approaching. So yes, guys, the GOP has to deal with this. However, they are really just focused right now on the midterm elections, in which I'll just go ahead and let you guys know that the GOP and the Republicans have been making a lot of ground over the past 2 weeks. So it looks like they are going to be really doing really good come Election Day for the midterm elections. So again, guys, that is just in a couple of days, and this is the last week for your early voting to happen. I voted today, guys, so I need you to go ahead and vote today as well, or make sure that you vote on the actual election day. At least get your vote heard, guys. Don't just sit at home and do nothing. But anyways, guys, the January 6th committee is also in discussions with Trump's legal team about testifying in court. Yes, according to Representative Liz Cheney, she said that the House January 6th committee is in talks with the former President Donald Trump's lawyers about his potential testimony here very soon. The committee is in discussions with President Trump's attorneys, and it has an obligation to comply, according to Liz Cheney. She said in a statement that, look, we treat this and take this very seriously. This is not a situation where the committee is going to put itself at the mercy of Donald Trump in terms of his efforts to create a circus. However, the House committee took the historic step of formally issuing a subpoena to Donald Trump on October the 21st. And Trump faces his first deadline this Friday, guys, on November the 4th. The date the subpoena requires him to turn over documents. The subpoena also requires him to appear for 1 or more days of deposition beginning around November the 14th. So yes, guys, you want to mark your calendars, because if he does testify, this is going to be huge, guys. We don't know which direction it's going to go. However, it is going to be a huge day for America to see exactly what the committee actually asked former President Donald Trump, as well as what Trump says in response to what happened on January the 6th during the attack on Capitol Hill. So again, guys, mark your calendars for that. And then also the Supreme Court is also have been dealing with the issue of Lindsey Graham testifying in Georgia in regards to the election fraud case. Yes, guys, Lindsey Graham has been fighting for this to be removed so that he doesn't have to testify, but it looks like now that the Supreme Court has finally stepped in, and they're saying that, look, Lindsey Graham has to testify. That's it. No more pushing this off. Lindsey Graham has to testify. So yes, guys, the Supreme Court ruled this on Tuesday, and they are now clearing the way for Senator Lindsey Graham to face questioning before a grand jury investigating the 2020 election interference in the state of Georgia, while also emphasizing that the inquiry must abide by constitutional safeguards for lawmakers. The court's move was a legal setback for Lindsey Graham, one of the several high-profile allies of the former President Donald Trump from Atlanta area's prosecutors, and now they are pursuing as a part of the probe into the potential criminal effort to disrupt the 2020 election in Georgia. So yes, guys, we now are seeing all those individuals, those allies of the former President Donald Trump, have been either indicted on charges or being indicted on fraud charges, as well as going to jail. And now the former President Donald Trump is now facing his own questions in court. And yes, guys, this could happen as early as next week. Anyways, guys, once that happens or we get more information, I will keep you guys up to date as usual. But moving on, guys, hey, we do have some information in regards to some stimulus relief aid from the federal government. And yes, guys, President Biden has now predicted that, yes, there could be some new checks being sent out within the next 2 weeks. Yes, President Biden right here is predicting that the student debt payments from the student loan forgiveness plan signed by President Biden will go out in the next 2 weeks, just even though there are some potential pending lawsuits that are going on out there. Yes, guys, President Biden believes that the student loan relief checks could go out in the next couple of weeks, despite some lingering litigation that has temporarily blocked the plan from actually happening. And Biden made the remarks during an interview on local TV station network Next Star Media. He said, look, we're going to win that case. I think in the next 2 weeks, you're going to see those checks going out to millions of Americans. So yes, guys, this is some very awesome news, guys. And yes, we have less than 2 weeks before we hear any information in regards to whether or not the student loan forgiveness plan is going to be sending out stimulus checks or stimulus relief aid anywhere between $10,000 and up to $20,000. We will have more information on that very soon. And then we also received this particular information in which they're saying that, look, you need to go ahead and mark your calendars, guys, not only for the Donald Trump situation or the deadline, but also because that is when the automatic student loan forgiveness payments are going to start processing. So yes, guys, I need you to mark your calendars today. Mark your calendars for November the 14th, because if everything goes well, that is the date of when these automatic student loan forgiveness payments, these stimulus relief payments, are going to be processing to get ready to send out to millions of Americans in this country. And yes, guys, like I said, November the 14th. So yes, you want to mark your calendar for two things, because that is the deadline for the former President Donald Trump to show up in court and to testify, as well as when we can expect these student loan forgiveness payments, these stimulus checks, to start the processing. November the 14th, guys, mark your calendars. And then also we have information from President Biden in which he said that, look, even though we're dealing with some litigation in regards to the student loan forgiveness plan right now, President Biden is prepared, because if they are not able to proceed with the student loan forgiveness plan, President Biden said that, look, he does have a plan B just in case. Yes, guys, right here it talks about that. President Biden could have a plan B if the court stalls on the student debt forgiveness plan, which means more repayment delays could actually occur. We do know that back on January the 1st, a temporary pause on federal student loan repayments is set to expire, meaning that millions of borrowers are bracing to repay loans after a nearly 3-year reprieve. And while the Biden administration called the latest extension the final one, some experts predict the pause could be extended if the legal uncertainty over a new student loan forgiveness plan continues. And on Friday, hours after President Joe Biden announced that 22 million people have actually applied for the student loan forgiveness plan, a federal court of appeals issued an administrative stay that bars the administration from dispensing with the loans while it considers a challenge to the particular program. The White House Press Secretary Karen Jean-Pierre declined to discuss the possibility of extending the repayment pause, but she also didn't rule out when reporters raised questions at the news conference on Monday. And in a statement, they said that, look, I'm not going to get into hypotheticals, and we have to let the process play out. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves from here. So again, guys, that is the latest on whether or not millions of Americans are going to be receiving some new stimulus relief aid in the form of student loan forgiveness, some debt forgiveness plan that was signed by the president. So yes, guys, mark your calendars, November the 14th. We should know exactly whether or not this is going to move forward. And then last but not least, guys, I want to remind you guys that we do have a new poll that has just come out in which it states that about 63% of Americans still support the federal government sending more inflation relief checks to millions of Americans. And yes, guys, it is true. There have been several holdover pandemic issues that have hogged headlines this year as record inflation continues to plague Americans' households. With 7 days to go until the critical midterm elections, stimulus payments are once again being discussed by major parties. And what they're referring to is it is being discussed by the Democrats as well as the Republicans. And both of them are in agreement that we may have to go ahead and approve of additional stimulus relief aid or stimulus checks for the American people on a federal level. Yes, guys, as Newsweek reported, a recent poll indicated that almost 2/3 of Americans are in favor of the federal government providing additional stimulus checks to help them combat inflation, because apparently the Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, is unable to do so. But anyways, guys, this particular study conducted by Newsweek by market research consultant has found that 63% of respondents would support the federal government issuing new inflation checks. And of these respondents, only 42% answered that they strongly agree with receiving further assistance. So yes, guys, this is just more information in regards to why the president as well as Congress needs to approve of additional federal stimulus relief aid for the American people, because inflation is still sitting at a high rate, and then the Fed chairman is continuing to raise interest rates. And yes, guys, things are just continuing to get expensive, and Americans need some help right now. But anyways, guys, if you agree, comment down below and let me know as well. But anyways, guys, I hope all this information in this video was helpful to you today. Well, anyways, guys, hey, that's all I have for you today. But feel free to check out some of the items down below in the description, because there are some great opportunities, guys, for you to support this channel, as well as different ways for you to get some free money, some free cash, as well as an opportunity for you to get 12 free stocks from Webull that could be worth up to $3,000. But anyways, if you are interested, those links will be down below. But anyways, guys, hey, if you enjoyed today's content and you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's totally free. And if you like today's video, then go ahead and hit the like button for us. It really helps out this channel, as well as it tells YouTube to share this video with others. But anyways, guys, hey, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Peace.